I love my baby daughter, but I have a really hard time finding someone to watch her. Ring ring.
Hello, Babysitters Club.
Hi, I need someone to watch Rosie so I can do a book review. What's your going rate for super specials?
Normally we charge double for super specials. And wait a minute, is this Argle Thump?
Yes.
I don't like your reviews. You keep making jokes about how I'm bossy and controlling. Yeah, you say all I do is complain about being 11.
That's why I didn't read this book earlier.
Argle Thump Book Review. Argle Thump Book Review.
The book begins with a letter from Marianne to Logan. She's writing to tell him a bunch of information that he already knows. Namely, every year, their middle school gives all the students a free week-long vacation at a first-class ski resort in Vermont. Why? Well, who cares? Free vacation! Logan can't go skiing with everyone else because he's in Aruba, so Marianne has volunteered to write copious notes. That way Logan will know everything that happened on this vacation. Everything! Especially the parts where they decided what candy to get from the vending machine. That stuff is important. You might be wondering why Logan hears all about the girls' vacation, but none of them hear about his vacation. That's because no one cares. Got it? Good. Let's continue. Stacey describes the bus ride there. She starts by noticing that New York has way more people than Vermont does. How do people even survive in such a backwards, not New York place? Life must be awful for them. She also complains when they stop at a restaurant and the people there are unhappy to see hundreds of loud middle schoolers make a huge mess without paying anything. How rude! You'd never get bad service like that in New York! Geez, Stacey, save it for the New York super special. Dawn narrates as they get settled into the lodge. She says it reminds her of the hotel in the Stephen King movie The Shining. You know, the R-rated murder movie that Dawn is way too young to have seen? That murder movie. The lodge is just like that! This is exactly the wrong note to start their vacation on, because now I'm scared for the babysitters' lives. Mallory must also be scared because she almost starts crying when she realizes she and Jessi aren't allowed to stay with the other girls. Disaster strikes when a bus full of kids crashes near the hotel. The adults are hospitalized, and Kristy volunteers the Babysitters Club to take care of the kids for free. The teachers and hotel owners agree to this plan because in Babysitters Club world, adults totally pawn abandoned school children off on 13-year-olds. The kids and the babysitters get their own personal dorm now, so Mallory can stop crying about being separated from the others. Marianne researches the history of the lodge, and she learns that it's haunted by a ghost. Didn't we do this story in the previous book? Nobody at the hotel wants to talk about the ghost, so Marianne is convinced it's real. She's so scared she decides to write Logan a love letter. Because evil ghosts are romantic? My dearest Logan, you can't possibly know how much I miss you. My thoughts are with you each and every second of every day. For once, I'm glad this series was written before cell phones existed, because otherwise we'd have 150 pages of Logan and Marianne texting each other non-stop. As it is, Marianne starts to worry that maybe Logan found a cute vacation girlfriend, and now their relationship is doomed! Jessi babysits the kids, and she butts heads with a girl named Pinky. Pinky is mean and bratty to everyone, and Jessi hates her almost as much as her racist neighbor. Pinky is so awful that Jessi eventually gives her a book to read and refuses to talk to her for the rest of the morning. Because good babysitters ignore kids. Stacey gets a vacation boyfriend named Pierre Pierre D. He's French, he's nice, and his voice is changing right now. Stacey thinks it's attractive that he's getting a deeper voice, while I'm chuckling because I imagine his voice cracking with every line of dialogue. Mallory is horrified when they announce they're holding a dance. A dance with boys! Mallory hates boys, and Jim. Then Mallory decides to spy on people and write about it in her journal. You know, the same thing she did in Super Special number 1. It's a little more interesting this time around because she goes into La La Land. She ships 2 of her teachers together, and she decides the chef is a homicidal maniac because he has knives and sprinkled powder in the soup. Dawn enters a skating competition, but she's a complete failure. She falls on the ice in round 1, she drops the baton in round 2, and in round 3, Kristy picks someone else to be on her team. She also trips when trying to get into a ski lift, and all the kids make fun of her. Dawn gives up and goes back inside, where she complains to Marianne. But Marianne's too busy thinking about Logan to care about anybody else's problems right now, so the two girls get into a big fight. Marianne asks everybody about the ghost, until she learns there is no ghost, it's just some guy died in a bathtub 50 years ago. That's not scary, but you know what is scary? Logan's vacation girlfriend! He's probably kissing her! Oh no! Kristy is still mad that her team lost the skating competition. Next is the snow sculpture competition. She preps her team by, giving them the afternoon off so she can make snowmen with the little kids. What? She has a team practice with little kids instead of her team? How does that help them prepare? Claudia loves art, so she's the judge of the snow sculpture competition. Claudia picks someone from her own team as the winner. Kristy rightfully points out that it's unfair to have one of the team members be a judge, but everybody ignores her. Poor Kristy. She challenged Claudia to a sports rivalry, but Claude isn't interested. She cares more about the gorgeous French ski instructor named Guy. At least I think he's French. His accent is pretty awful, so it's hard to tell where he's from. Either way, he takes a special interest in Claudia, and she loves it when he puts his arms around her. That's when Claudia remembers her boyfriend Will. Is it cheating on him to have a crush on a 30-year-old guy? Yes. Yes, it is. Also, it's creepy that he's over twice her age. Claudia thinks about it for a while and decides that Will is nothing compared to her feelings for Guy, so it's totally okay for her to cheat on him. What an awful girlfriend. Jessi holds auditions for the school talent show, which are pretty entertaining, although I find it a little weird that the kids are all singing songs and imitating celebrities from the 50s, not the 80s. It's almost like they're kids from the author's generation, not modern day, huh? Either way, Jessi's glad that people are respecting her as an authority figure. Well, everyone except Pinky respects her. Pinky glares at Jessi, and Jessi decides she's prejudiced against black people. Mallory tries explaining that's not true, but Jessi ignores her. Dawn continues to fail at life, and she feels so bad she goes to the bathroom to cry. Inside, she sees Pinky crying. Pinky confesses she's homesick, and that's why she's been mean the whole time. Dawn realizes she's also been mean because she's insecure, so she apologizes to Marianne for fighting with her. They both cry a lot and become friends again. So this chapter is Dawn crying, Pinky crying, Dawn crying, and Marianne crying, and Dawn crying again. It's the crying chapter. Claudia and Kristy's team square off in the big snowball fight competition, which is on the cover of this book. Guess what, though? We never see the snowball fight because Marianne narrates that chapter and she decides to stay inside. A whole lot of build-up for nothing. Marianne writes sappy love letters to Logan until she gets a long-distance phone call. She worries something bad happened to her cat or her house burned down, but it turns out it's Logan on the phone. He says he misses her a whole lot and his vacation girlfriend doesn't exist. Oh, thank goodness. Mallory's journaling goes badly. She decides the chef isn't poisoning people since nobody died. Great detective skills there, Mal. Also, she gets caught when she spies on Stacey and Pierre kissing, so she gives up on spying forever. Jessi narrates the talent show, and she talks with Pinky. Pinky cries because she's still homesick, and she apologizes for being mean to Jessi. Jessi's a little startled to find out that Pinky isn't racist. She wonders if she's the racist one, because she ignored the truth in order to assume something bad about a white girl. She decides to discuss this with her parents when she gets home. Claudia wins the ski competition against Kristy, but her heart is broken when she learns that Guy has a wife and kids. She quickly decides that Guy was too old for her anyway, and besides, she loves her boyfriend Will too much to think about other men. In other words, Claudia only loves Will whenever there isn't a cuter boy nearby. Their relationship is built on lies! Someone should tell Will about this. Kristy pressures several of her classmates into joining the final competition, even though they're unprepared. One of them breaks his leg as a result, and Kristy feels incredibly guilty. She makes it up to him by spending the dance with him, so 5 out of the 7 storylines in this book revolve around cute guys. I think this book needs more variety. Mallory freaks out over the dance, and she unsuccessfully tries to get out of it by volunteering to babysit. Everything turns out okay when a cute guy from her math class asks to dance with her. They dance all night long, and he pretends not to notice when she steps on his feet. What a nice guy! I know he only shows up for a page at most, but I already like him way more than the other boyfriends in this book. Speaking of, remember Stacey's boyfriend? Yeah, I don't remember him either, because her last chapter was 130 pages ago. That's over half the book. Well, Pierre and Stacey go to the dance together, they talk about her friends, and they exchange addresses, because email isn't a thing yet. Marianne closes the book by talking about the bus ride home and everything that happened afterwards. As promised, she compiles everything into a book for Logan, but she selectively edits out all the parts that make her look bad. Because love is built on lies. Is that the moral of this book? I think it is. The end. Post-book follow-up. My main complaint against the super specials is how shallow they are. Each girl is limited to 3 chapters each, and that's not enough room to develop an in-depth storyline or rounded characters. Stacey is the best example of this in this particular book. In one chapter, she meets Pierre for the first time. In her next chapter, she has to break up with him because vacation is over. It's a super rushed storyline that skips over all the interesting stuff with Pierre, like her falling in love with him. I didn't like that. I also didn't like how she completely isolated herself from all the other girls. It almost makes it feel like she wasn't in the book at all. Mallory was also kind of isolated from the others because she spent half of her time inside spying on people instead of talking to them. Thank goodness she gave up that storyline for the more interesting dance story. Jessi was also isolated from the rest of the Babysitters Club, but it didn't feel that way because she constantly interacted with other people. I'd say I liked Mallory and Jessi's stories, which were mostly fun and light-hearted stories. They got way better treatment here than the last super special, where Mallory only had 1 chapter and Jessi had 2, and it wasn't very good. Kristy's story was fine, although I could swear she's learned a lesson about being too competitive before. I'm mainly just upset that we saw all of the sports competitions except the snowball fight, which was probably the best one. Who doesn't want to see Kristy throw a snowball directly into Claudia's face? Kristy shares a bunk bed with Ashley Wyeth, the strange girl from book 12. Ashley is shy about being around Kristy, and for a moment I thought Kristy's story was going in a totally different direction. But no, Ashley is mostly forgotten outside of that chapter, and what could have been the most interesting part of the book disappears with her. I didn't like Claudia's storylines at all. It felt like she was copying the other girls. Stacey already fell in love with a French guy. Dawn and Marianne already had a feud. Claudia does the exact same things after they did. It feels derivative and less interesting. And further, this makes 3 vacation boyfriends for her and 3 super specials. Could we please give her something else to do? I was surprised when Claudia said that she and her boyfriend Will have been regularly writing and calling each other for the past 6 months. Heck, I'm surprised that he's her boyfriend. Why didn't this get mentioned in Claudia's last book? Does Will only exist in the super special universe? Continuity! Dawn's story was good, although I would have preferred a story about the California girl seeing snow for the first time. Other people thought the Dawn story was dumb and out of character for her, which it is, but I thought it was interesting how we saw the Dawn-Marianne fight from both girls' perspectives, so I liked that. Marianne, I did not like. She was pretty insufferable in this book. She spent the entire time being ditzy and daydreaming about Logan. It wasn't fun to see her worry about a girl who doesn't exist. Her ghost story subplot went nowhere. It was dropped from the book and never mentioned again. Same with her brief subplot focusing on the gym teacher. I guess Marianne got 4 stories because she's the narrator this time. Yeah, well, when the series is over, every babysitter will have her own super special, except Mallory. She gets nothing. She also didn't get her own episode on the TV show. I like to joke that I don't like Mallory, but I think Anne Martin dislikes her way more than I do. According to the advertisement at the end of book 29, the original title for this book was Babysitter's Winter Carnival. In the first chapter, they refer to their vacation as the annual Winter Carnival, but the term doesn't get used for the rest of the book. I can see why they changed the title to mirror the title of the last super special. The first Super Special had a lot of page-wasting illustrations. The second one had a bunch of page-wasting letters. This book has both. They're fine, but it's still 30 pages of fluff when we could have had 3 more chapters instead. Overall, I liked 4 of the 7 stories in this book, which is a majority, but I'm still not sold on the concept of the Babysitters Club Super Special. This is a double-length book. It should have larger stories, not smaller stories. At least something different from the girls go on vacation and meet cute guys again. I give Babysitters Club Super Special number 3, Babysitter's Winter Vacation, a 6 out of 10.